Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Should I Stop My 9 to 5 to Start My Business? Looks like I got one listener or one. I'm so used to the podcast. I meant to say I got one viewer on here. I just want to say thank you for joining the show today. Thank you for joining the live. And the topic of Should I Start My 9 to 5 Business? I'm excited to talk to you about that here on the 4th of July because we're talking about the freedom to do what we want, to be our own boss. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm excited to talk to you about. And make sure if you have any questions, feel free to put any questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. I want to get right into it because this is a conversation that everyone needs to have if you're looking at have a side hustle, a main hustle, or if you just have an idea. There's a lot of different things that you want to go into like thinking like, should I do this? And I want to scare you, but at the same time, I want to encourage you because there's going to be a lot of people that scare you, but they're going to scare you because of their own fears. I kind of want to scare you because once you start it, I'm going to tell you it's hard to stop and it's hard to look at yourself in a different way because when you're an entrepreneur, man, there's no other feeling. As my buddy would say, you are responsible for your financial success. During the good times and during the bad times, you are responsible for your financial success. So, should I stop my 9 to 5 to start my business? And I'm gonna be real with you. I always had non 9 to 5. I had graveyards. I had swing shifts, and I just got tired. Can I be honest with you? I just got tired of always seeing a lifestyle that I couldn't have. I saw people doing things I couldn't do, going on vacations, having the cars to the homes to the opportunities. And that's really what made me decide, should I stop my 9 to 5? And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Just let's get right to it. I never did. I never did stop my 9 to 5 because for me, what I saw that separated a lot of people, I didn't come from wealth. My family, we lost our house. We didn't have my mom went bankrupt. God bless her. She did her best, but she went bankrupt. I didn't have a safety net, if you will. I didn't have uh, any stocks or an inheritance. Um, I went this route, and let me just say, let me ask you the question: well, that didn't work out. Can I go back and delete this? Let's see. Can I go and let's remove this because I want to put in the chat. What's oh my gosh, what's holding you back from starting your 9 to 5? I mean, starting your business. Because let's just get into like, what are the things that's stopping you? Because that's what I want to help you with. Because you might say, hey, I have this great 9 to 5 job, and the great 9 to 5 job pays the bills, it has benefits, it has insurance. Hey, those are all great things that you want to have, and you shouldn't just let go just because it feels good. The number one thing that I had to realize for me when it came to what was holding me back was my own fear. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, I wasn't blessed with this inheritance. I wasn't blessed with this safety net of wealth or any riches. And the number one reason why I went to start owning my own business was I was hitting the glass ceiling. Now, you may talk to people and they say, if you want to start your own business, and you can even chat GPT it, they're going to talk about financial runway. They're going to talk about, did you have an MVP? Is it a viable business? Will it work in the marketplace? Are you meeting a demand in the marketplace? Will people buy it? And do you have a support system, as in the infrastructure that's going to support what you're talking about? You may not. And so these are all things that you are never going to have, like the answers, I should say, like all at one point in time. You may study something, you may study a company, you may study an industry, you may study a person, and all you're doing is studying their journey. You now need to understand you will have a different journey from that person. So now, one of the things I was doing some research when I wanted to talk about this topic and the subject, which I find very important because deep down inside, I believe we are all entrepreneurs, we are all creators. Now, the money you make is a completely conversation in my opinion, but is it important? Absolutely it is. But there are, I know cats that are making millions, but they're not holding millions. I don't have that problem. I wish I had that problem of making millions. Not yet. But I also know folks that they only have a business of one. They're a freelancer, a solopreneur, and they're happy with just being a business owner. And I remember this business owner saying, like, I don't want anyone to work for me, and I don't want to do jobs that I can't do myself, and I want to make my own schedule. I know another entrepreneur says, like Nathan, I want to be my own boss. I got tired of being told what to do when I knew the most, and all I was coming across for me not starting my own thing was my own imposter syndrome. And this is a problem that I believe when people ask, should I stop my 9 to 5 and do my own business? It's like, okay, well, what do you have to risk? And so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. And mainly there's three things. There's the financial runway, the business validation. I'm looking at my notes over here, and the risk. And so the financial runway is going to be different for everyone depending on the what I would say when you talk about financial run rate, some people say you should have 6 months of living expenses. Some people should say that you should have 3 years. People say that you should take out a mortgage on your loan, me on your home. Uh, you know, I'm going to tell you that that's one way to go about doing things if you want to take a second mortgage out. But if you're taking a second mortgage out to open a coffee shop or a restaurant, those are high risk businesses. Another way you can get into the business world is to buy a business. I didn't know that. You can go to websites and they have businesses that you can buy today, and it's already in existence. All you have to do is hopefully you buy everything including the goodwill. That means you have the good reviews, right? And all you have to do is put a change of ownership and off and go, you're running. So there's different ways that you can go into stopping the 9 to 5 if that's what you want to do. But the question is, should you stop? And I'm going to tell you only if it makes sense. If it makes sense why you should stop your 9 to 5, I think that's where you got to be honest with yourself and say, I'm ready to stop this. I'm ready to jump and leap into this. So, when I'm talking about this financial runway, the business validation and risk tolerance, I'm not going to tell you about the numbers. I want to talk to you about you yourself, because when you start talking about I'm doing my business full time. When we talk about the financial run rate, you're gonna start talking to your friends, family, friends, maybe other folks that are in the industry, or maybe it's people in your career, like at your company, and they're gonna be saying like, "Hey, well, you should have this, that you should have that. You're gonna do this." And I've heard some horror stories of where like, well, they're taking all this advice, and this advice has come from advice that they don't even know that it's proven. It was just a hearsay or magazine article or a YouTube video. But the financial one rate is going to be different for everyone because depending on the season of your life, the geographically place that you live in, your retirement goals, also how much you already have in the bank and the savings. Also, do you already have a potential client base that you have can tap into? They just need to know that you exist and move forward with it. It's different for everyone, but you have to then determine whether or not, honestly, real talk, if this is something that you want to do financially, because financially is going to be different because you're no longer waiting for a paycheck coming on the 1st and the 15th, or every other Friday, or every Friday, or the last day of the month. You're no longer waiting for that and budgeting for that. You are focusing on the oh shoot, let me close my door. I hear someone here. I thought I was the only one here. It's a holiday weekend, and I'm not the only one here. So when it comes to that financial piece to it, even to this day, when I start talking to some of my friends that are other entrepreneurs, they don't give me exact dollar figures. They may tell me exact figures of what their company is doing now, and they tell me the beginning stages of how, say, broke they were or how much money they had in the bank, but they didn't tell me like what their P&L looked like. They didn't tell me their cash flow. They didn't tell me about the loans that they may have taken out. They didn't tell me these things. So when it comes to the financial runway, it's going to be different for everyone, especially for someone that's in their 40s that's starting a business versus their 50s. And who knows what they have in the bank and what collateral that they're putting up. And so when it comes to this financial, I will say, safety net that you have for your runway, it's definitely going to matter the business validation. And I should say, I just typed this in the chat GPT to see what it's going to be. And they gave me like six. Um, they actually gave me quite a few more than that, but they gave me some six good ones, but I kind of just narrowed it down to three because I don't want you to be discouraged. You know how I say I was, some people discourage you, including me, to discourage you, but I want to encourage you. So the business validation, and again, I'm talking not about numbers, I'm talking about you. So when you bring up the fact that you're going to start a business, do you know how many people more than likely are not going to support you? You know how many people that's going to look at you somewhat crazy? Some may be excited for you, some may be interested that you're going to make this decision, but not everyone is going to cheer for you. Not everyone is going to want you to succeed. Some folks are even going to be like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, you have a good career. So you can go and get all the research you need. You can get all the studies, but there's nothing going to be like that validation until you actually do it. And if it's a service or if it's product, and you fulfill those orders, and if you can make a customer happy, that's 5 stars out of 5 stars. That's how you know your business is validated. That's how you know you have a product and you have or a service. And so this is how you validate it: is you go out to the market and you test it to determine whether or not it is going to be successful. I told one of my students back in the day when they had this idea to start a bakery and they love to bake, and I remember the student, and I think I have this on my Instagram somewhere. Uh, and she was a good baker. She wanted to bake certain foods that didn't have gluten in it. There was something about her allergies that she suffered. So she was like, I think you should still be able to eat sweets without having the effects of having gluten or flour and these products. And so I said, sure, you just got to go out there and see who is willing to spend the money to put yourself out there. I'm sorry, spend the money and to see who is going to want it. And this was like about maybe 8 years ago when allergies started to become more of a thing, of where the options, alternatives were popping up more and more, not just like, say, in uh, key staple dishes, but in also the nice dish. Like, I should, what's another word for saying like uh extracurricular? Like, it was the baking part. And so this student started to cook or bake these cookies and started to go then and try it out with the different bakers, and she had a couple of takers. But then she says, you know what, now that I know that people want this, that people like it, I now want to see how about really becoming a baker. I want to refine my skills. She was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to culinary school because I really want to learn how to bake. These are just the ideas that I've had for um you said, from her issues, but then I think she said deep down inside she wasn't quite sure if it was going to be validated or not, and she got it validated. I even she made me eating some cookies, and I took it to my office, and one of the people there was like saying like, "Oh, I can't eat this because I'm sensitive to gluten." And I was like, "Hey, no, don't worry about it." And I took a picture and showed my student, and she was so happy because she was like, that person in my office was like, man, finally, I wish people would do this more often, because there's people like me that we can't partake in these things because no people don't think of us. And this is where I want to encourage you, because it's not that uh I'm gonna discourage you to say like, make sure that you done all your research. No, make sure that you follow your heart. Follow your heart. And it's important to follow your heart, because from my own experience, what's going to happen is you're going to get this 9 to 5 job that you really love and really enjoy initially because of the external extrinsic benefits of pay, benefits. But you know how many people I hear even to this day talking about how they hate their job and they only live for the weekend? Yeah, they may be happy because they have one life for their area fulfilled, as in their bank account, but their emotional account is empty. Their happiness account is empty. And I'm like, what's going on? And I start learning and hearing, because when you start talking to your W-2 friends, at least from my experience, it's like there's some deeper stuff that is underlying that they're unhappy, but yet they have the material things that even if you get the material things, that doesn't always make you happy, because if you're not doing what you really enjoy and love, as in fulfilling a need, even though that need is important, if you're not fulfilling the need that you were created to do, that you had the purpose that God the creator put you on this earth for, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So that's why I say, yeah, there's ways to give you constructive criticism, to where some people will look at it as you don't know what you're doing. But like I was saying before, you don't know except for that person's journey, that industry, that company that you follow. That's the only thing you have to go off of. You have to create your own journey. You have to create your own data points. You have to create your own case studies to say, this is who I'm serving and this is what I know that they're going to like. So for my experience working with entrepreneurs that have started and then crashed, I remember one person who hired me to say, I need marketing services, and they spent about 95% of their budget on the technology, and says, okay, here's the last 5%. I need you to make this go viral. I'm like, wait, what? You but th- you want me to go viral with this? And so the next thing I want to talk to you about is risk. So when you're risking it all, and again, this is not anything that I need to discourage you in. You're gonna, if this is something you're weighing on to stop that 9 to 5, you're taking a risk. So I don't need to uh, discourage you or give you constructive criticism on that. I want to give you some encouragement. So when I was talking to this individual about giving me the 5%, and we're strategizing, we implemented some things. There's only a few things I could only execute because I could execute because there was only so much of the budget. And this person started talking to me about what they left, what they lost, and what they now are loathing. And you know, I felt bad, but I was like listening to them, and I'm like, well, um, and I want to also put in the chat, what's the real risk of you not doing it? And so, as they stopped their 9 to 5, they went back to or they started the business, but then they went back to a 9 to 5. And what I learned from this person was that there were things that, uh, which is another conversation, another video. Entrepreneurship, it changes you. It allows you to see your most deepest, scariest fears that you have to address. And when you are going to a 9 to 5 where all you got to do is just do menial tasks where you don't really have to think about where the money's coming from, how it pays its bills. All you're doing is your one job, and you get paid the twice a month that you happy about, and you get your medical, your dental, all these other things, right? When you're an entrepreneur and you started this and the person went back, I remember this person said to me, they were like, Nathan, if I would have done this for my own business, I wouldn't even be in these problems. But you know how I said you have to be honest and look in within yourself, because you are understanding that you are creating something that is of your own. People don't have that. Like when I think of, like, if you got to do an e-commerce store, do a Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos took out almost a half a million. I don't know the exact number, but you saying at almost a half of a million, 500, $400,000. Like, I think it's the lowest number was $400,000. I said in the very beginning, I didn't have that wealth. I didn't have those riches where I could stop my job. I could buy inventory. I can build the things that I want to build. I didn't have that. I was working and grinding at the same time. And when this person came to me and was saying that, oh, I could, if I would have known, no, you did know. The problem is it's hard. And we don't want to be honest and say the risk that you're taking could be a matter of life or death in some regards. The life of who you are, as in the emotional pressure, the depression, where you're trying to make something work out of nothing and no one is there to help you except the team that you have created. And when you don't have anyone supporting you, it's extremely hard. That is the risk that people are taking, because you go to 9 to 5, you got the water cooler, you got a break room, you might have a lunch room, you have colleagues you can talk about or talk to. No, you just, as a business owner, you just have whatever you created. And if you don't have the money, that's a major risk to say, I believe in myself so much, I don't need anybody else. In life, we know we need people. The pandemic taught us that we want connection. We thrive off connection. We don't want to be separated. So just think that's just social, but think when it comes to working and getting something done that's never been done before, you really think you can do it all by yourself? No, no, you can't. So that risk of you going out and stopping that 9 to 5 is a huge one, but only you can make the risk. You can talk to a plethora of people, but that doesn't mean the risk is on them. It's on you. And this is where I would encourage you to, yes, validate the business. Yes, have money set aside. And yes, do what's going to be best for you. But, and it's a huge but, what are you risking? What's the real risk of you not doing the 9 to 5? Or excuse me, not, no, 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 no. What's the real risk of you not doing your business? What's the real risk? When you start asking yourself, and I had to learn that, um, for me, every time when I was in a job, trying to build a career that I was qualified, in some ways overqualified for, I had to realize it was not my company. Even though I may had held the position, it was within my job description to do. I had to answer to people that had more authority and had a different version or version of me, and also vision of what they wanted me to do. And I was like, well, I see something different. They don't care. They didn't care. And so I was either quitting or I end up getting fired. And I had to say to myself, Nathan, you got to believe in yourself. So the risk was for me, and I tell you, the risk was my happiness, my joy. And when we say happiness, I'm talking about feeling supported and enjoying what I do. And knowing at the end of the day, when I lay my head down on the pillow, I know that the the job I'm doing is meeting the need, and I know people are getting what they need. So it's not just, oh, I'm doing this because it's just to do it, but I've taken a risk that I know I'm meeting the market need, and no, I'm not going to become a multimillionaire because I created this widget, but I know I'm touching somebody's life. And that is one of the things that I love doing, is helping people in that regard. So um to recap the three things, because I only wanted to go 30 minutes and I didn't see any questions, is do you have the financial runway to quit that 9 to 5 and leave the door open, don't burn the bridge? Secondly, do you have the data to suggest that you have a viable business, and in that viable business where you went out and tested it yourself, not you researching it to see if it was viable, did you go out and make a sale? That's how you know you have a viable business. The last thing is, what are you risking not doing the business? what what seriously, like, what are you risking if you don't do the business for yourself? That is the number one thing that will keep you up at night, because I had no, I have a couple of friends that got a couple of commas, and they asked one person, he was like, um Nathan, are you happy? I said, yeah. He says, Nathan, are you happy because of what did he say? He said it's something like, are you happy? He says, do you enjoy where you live? Do you enjoy what you do? Do you enjoy your like family? Something like that. I can't remember all the things now. I'm blanking on it, but it was very simple. And he says, Nathan, you're a rich man. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm thinking like, I ain't rich like you, but I think he does that to encourage me to say it's not about money, when we always like to make it about money. But if you are doing what you are called to do and you love it, that's the risk that I would say. It's not about the 9 to 5. Yes, we need money, we need benefits, we need to have a plan, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, do you have what you need to make yourself happy? If you're not making yourself happy, it's going to be tough, because yes, it's tough when you ain't able to do this and that, but it's tough to know that you have all this and you're still not happy. I don't want that. I don't want that at all, and I don't want that for you. So no one put anything in the chat, so I don't see any questions, and so I um and looking forward to discussing this more. If I see this in the chats, if you have, or in the comments, I would love to go back and forth to a certain extent, because I know we all are not in the situation that we may want to be in, and that situation may have not presented itself. And that's why I said in the very beginning, we all may be in different seasons of life. And I'm not telling you to go out and do something. So don't put my name in your mouth. Don't be saying like Nathan said this. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we all have different scenarios, circumstances, and opportunities and talents. And I always like watching sports, and especially the G League documentary. I think it was on Hulu, and um, the guy was like, "Hey, I'm part of the 1 percentile, but I don't want to be in the top 1,000. I want to be in the top 500." And he said the margin for that is an ant's eyelash. So to get picked and to go to that next level is really hard. But at the same time, he said, I also want to acknowledge and celebrate the fact that I'm one of the top 1%. Like, so that's perspective, man. That was some deep perspective. So, y'all, if you haven't already, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, make sure you share. And I appreciate you because you watched this video because you were like, hey, I'm thinking about it. Hey, I applaud you, and do what's right for you. Follow your heart, be you, and I see you next time. And with that, dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.